Well, welcome back and congratulations on getting married, Alex.
Thanks, Jeff. It's pretty great to be making that next big transition in life. Everything went really smooth, so I appreciate the wishes. I know one big change that's going to be coming at home is that my ad algorithm is going to get all messed up. So I'm going to start getting some weird retargeting. It's quite literally what's hers is mine now.
The great merging of search histories. Yeah. Speaking of advertising and retargeting, something I feel like is kind of weird that I do is I intentionally never click on ads when I'm using Google. I always seek out, does it have that little tiny ads icon next to the search result? And if it does, I just move on to the next thing. I just don't even click on it.
Well, I don't think you're alone in that, Jeff, because I think Google's gotten a lot better at hiding the distinctions between ad clicks and organic clicks. So you're doing a lot of dirty work that I think Google's made into their process, just trying to streamline their pay-per-click. And it's why it's becoming more difficult to be in this space too. So I'm glad we're talking about PPC in our discussion.
Welcome to the Limelight podcast, your source for medical marketing news. Get insights into the latest trends, learn about groundbreaking marketing strategies, and discover the newest tools. We'll let you know what questions you should be asking and where to find the answers. All this and more brought to you by the team at Digital Limelight Media.
Joining us today is our paid ads manager, Mike Ryan. I'd like to briefly brag on Mike as he was recently promoted to his current role as our paid ads manager. So a belated congrats to you, Mike.
Thank you, Jeff. It's been a long process and kind of slowly transitioning to be more full-time on the paid ad side of things. So it's exciting to finally kind of reach the light at the end of the tunnel there.
All right, so we're talking about PPC today. So my first question is simply, what does PPC stand for and what is it?
Yeah, so PPC stands for pay-per-click, which is an internet advertising model that displays your ad in the search results of, say, Google search and charges you every time someone actually clicks on the ad. Now, how much that costs, it's going to vary. There's thousands of variables at play that determine what that actual cost is every time someone clicks your ad, but we can touch on some of those a little later on.
So how does PPC, if you're looking to capitalize on online advertising, is PPC the best option? Is it one of the best options you can run with?
Yeah, what's really great about PPC or Google Ads is there's a number of solutions based on what your marketing goal is. So for example, if you're a new practice and you're looking to get a lot of traffic to your new website, not wanting to wait for the SEO process to kind of pick up and get traffic organically, there are opportunities there. On the flip side, if you're an established practice and you're looking to really increase your patient base in 2022, there are opportunities there. Maybe you've got a new machine in the office you're looking to get new patients for, you don't want it to sit and collect dust. There are opportunities for that. Maybe you just created a new YouTube channel. You put a lot of effort in creating videos in the office, highlighting your staff and patient testimonials, things like that. And you want to get more views onto those videos into your YouTube channel. There are opportunities there as well. So really, depending on what your specific situation is, more than likely there's some sort of solution with Google Ads.
Looking at our notes here, I see that you are mentioning that there are several different types of PPC campaigns besides just those that show up in search results. Could you give us a brief overview of what the most important ones are?
Yeah, I'll speak to three of the main ones. First is search. I think that's what everyone is most familiar with. We also have the display network and then YouTube or the video network. Search is what people are most familiar with. That's typically what people think of when they hear PPC or Google Ads. Google AdWords, it used to be known as. That's going to be, going onto google.com, searching for pizza place near me, and you see those ads up at the top there. So that's what people most often think of. The second is display, which is something, again, most people are probably familiar with it when you think about it. That's going to be those kind of billboards you see on other websites. Maybe you look at a certain new iPhone or laptop and you all of a sudden start to see those ads follow you around on different websites. That's going to be the display network. Sort of similar to billboards in that it's not someone proactively searching for your service, but what kind of distinguishes the display network from just your standard billboard is we're not putting these ads on the side of the highway and hoping that someone drives by and happens to be in our target demographic. What you can do with display is say we want to serve our ads to maybe it's men, maybe it's women, maybe there are certain age groups, Maybe there are certain types of interests that your target demographic would have. So instead of just throwing our ads across the internet and hoping someone sees them, we can gear our ads towards the people that we know would purchase our product, come in for a consultation, whatever it might be. The third is video network or YouTube. What this is going to be is featuring one of your videos. You can, any video you have in your YouTube channel and pushing that out. I'm sure everybody's familiar with those. You click to skip after 5 seconds. But if someone does watch that video, that would be the video network. What's nice with YouTube is really two things. One is it's not nearly as saturated as the other two networks. So instead of paying $2, $3, $4, $10, $15, $20 per click, we're paying per view. And typically a view is going to be somewhere in the range of 5 to 15 cents. So obviously you can stretch your advertising dollars much, much further. The second is similar to the display network. We're not just throwing this video across YouTube and hoping someone sees it, again, using that billboard on the side of the highway. It's similar to display network in that we can target demographics. We can target certain types of videos. So say you're looking to advertise cool sculpting, we can put our videos in front of videos about weight loss, body contouring, all of those types of things. So getting these videos in front of the types of people or next to the types of videos that our target demographic would be watching. So that's kind of a quick overview on the big three: search, display, and YouTube.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you breaking down those three different kind of spaces of Google pay-per-click. So if you're someone that's new and hasn't touched any of these spaces yet, how does a beginner get started in advertising to these platforms?
Yeah, good question. And this is a question that Google has been wrangling for as long as Google Ads has been a thing, back to the Google AdWords days. Now Google Ads, they've had a number of different ways to help minimize the barrier to entry. So right now what they have, you may or may not have heard about this. It's called Performance Max Campaigns. It's a very sexy new name. What this does is instead of having to distinguish, I want to be on search, I want to be on display, setting up all of these different ad groups, keywords, and negative keywords, and ad extensions, and this, that, and the other thing, what Google does is it kind of holds your hand through this. And instead of having to create a campaign for the search network, and then a separate campaign for the display network, and then a third campaign for YouTube, so on and so forth, having to manage each of these, having to optimize each of these, making sure you're reaching your marketing goals and objectives. What Google has made with the Performance Max campaign is you're able to easily access all of these different advertising networks with a single campaign. And now instead of, like I mentioned, some of these things, ad groups, keywords, so on, instead of having to create all of these, which can take a long amount of time, the time that's spent optimizing it over time, all of these things that, time investment can be a lot for a smaller business. With this, you only need to give Google a few inputs. So, you write out an ad or two if you want to include some images from your website URL, and you kind of let Google take the wheel while you sit in the passenger seat. Now, it's nice because it makes it very, very easy to get in there. You're only making one campaign. It's not something where you need to constantly be managing it and optimizing it, because Google knows, all right, we want website form submissions, or we want phone calls, or we want website purchases. And Google will optimize towards those goals. Now, the challenge with this is if you give Google a budget of $10 a day, $20 a day, $30 a day, with a search network campaign, typically if there's not enough search volume on a day, then you just won't spend that budget and it lives on to see another day. When we hand it over to a Performance Max campaigns, like I said, we're giving Google the wheel. Google doesn't become Google without Google ad revenue. So if we give them a budget, they'll find a way to spend it, and we don't have as much control as to where it's going and what is actually being done. Now, with all these things being said, I don't want to give the impression that a Performance Max campaign can't work. I mean, it certainly can. Google has a case study that shows a 22% increase in conversions for, I believe it was a loan servicing company. But ultimately, a one-size-fits-all solution is never going to be the absolute best option. Especially in 2022, we're trying to stretch everything as far as we can. So we want to be as granular as we can be as specific as we can be, and make sure we're making the most out of everything. Performance Max, is it easier to get in? Absolutely. Is it easier to get it set up? Yes. Is it less of a time investment? Absolutely. But is it the absolute best way to maximize your ROI on your marketing dollars? Probably not.
So if Performance Max isn't the best way to maximize your ROI, are there other options for people who want to be more efficient with their advertising budget?
Frankly, working with a digital marketing company such as Digital Limelight Media, I mean, we work with people across the country. And the benefit of working with us is, we know based on where you're located, that's going to impact, like I mentioned earlier, PPC, cost per click, how much are we paying for each click? It's going to vary depending on what procedure we're looking to advertise, what product we're looking to advertise. If there's a certain machine, cool sculpting is one that we hear a lot. And it used to be a great option. Now it's not as great of an option. Without having that insight of someone who's been doing it for a long time, you're kind of flying blind. And Google doesn't know the nuance of every industry in the way that specialized digital marketing companies do. So at the end of the day, it's our goal, and we talk about this with all of our clients. At the end of the day, there's one metric we can look at, and that's cost per conversion. Essentially, what that boils down to is cost per lead. How much are we paying for each lead or each sale with our marketing campaign? And the goal is to get that as low as possible. Now, with the Performance Max campaign, if we see, maybe it's trending upward, maybe, we're seeing our cost per click go up, maybe, any number of scenarios could be happening. We're very much limited in what we can do to try to improve things. Whereas with a full-fledged search campaign or display campaign, YouTube campaign, we can look at that and say, okay, here's what's working well. Here's what's not working well. We're going to take all this Google Ads jargon, put it into digestible English, and help inform you to make the best decision for your digital marketing campaign and your business as a whole.
So you're talking about how effective Google search ad campaigns can be, but I gotta say, in my personal experience in my day-to-day life, I literally avoid clicking on Google ads when I search. Is everyone, kind of like me in that they're averse to clicking on ads as opposed to non-paid content?
We hear that quite a bit. Everybody, I think, to a degree has that. Like, nobody likes to be advertised to, right? If you remember back in the day, Google Ads up at the top, they used to be outlined by that yellow box. So they stuck out like a highlighter. And you can see over the years, Google's done more to try to hide the fact that they're ads and make them look more like the organic results. They've kind of reeled that back a little bit where they're making a note that it is an ad, but they're trying to wedge that in a bit. Google search is really Google's most lucrative asset. In 2020 alone, Alphabet, so Google's parent company, generated almost $183 billion in revenue with a B. Over 80% of that, about $147 billion, was from Google Ads, which is not a small amount of money. Google really doesn't get to be Google without Google Ads. All these products they've created, Google Nest, Google Fiber, like I've got a Google Pixel phone, all of these cool things that they've created, really, Google Ads is the launch pad for those. That's what gives them the revenue to be able to try new things and create these new products. Ultimately, you don't generate $147 billion in revenue from offering a service without that service obviously working. And we've got a number of clients that are, have had campaigns running for years now. And the feedback I always get from clients is, we'll continue to spend money. We'll spend more money if it continues to work and we have a positive ROI. And that's really what we do here at Digital Limelight Media, between our paid ad management and then all of the other services we provide is the goal of helping find the right solution for your specific business needs.
Well said, Mike. I appreciate your time today and helping us cover this topic. We covered a lot of ground, I think. So we appreciate you breaking down the PPC space for us. And hopefully we'll have you on another podcast very soon.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Jeff, I appreciate it, you guys.
Hey, Alex from DLM here. One question I get from medical practices all the time is, what can I do to gain a better reputation online? The answer is DLM Review, a reputation management tool designed to make review requests simple, easy, and a natural part of your practice. It even has the ability to weed out bad reviews so that they don't make it to public platforms like Yelp, Google, or Facebook. Contact our team at info@DLM Conversion today to get the conversation started. That's info@DLMConversion.com.
Well, it's great talking to Mike and getting into the weeds a little bit with PPC, and we'll see what's on the horizon with search campaigns in the future.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with Mike as far as PPC, and I imagine we're definitely going to be bringing him back for another podcast. So for now, we're going to be moving on and talking to one of your coworkers, Jeff, which is Sam.
Yeah, can't wait. So, Sam, you and I chat quite regularly about things other than content, but rarely about our specific takes on what makes good content for web, whether it's blog or procedure pages. I want to ask you now, what, in your opinion, is the most important quality that separates bad content from good content?
So there's the really obvious things like grammar and punctuation errors. And I would say that plagiarism is surprisingly overlooked a lot more often than you might think. But the most important quality is the tone, in my opinion. Quality content should really strike the balance between being authoritative and accessible. I think it should be easy to read, and the information that your audience is looking for should be really obvious.
So do things like commas really matter, or is it just overall tone that needs to connect with a user?
The commas do matter, but they're sort of low-hanging fruit. You can fix things like commas with Grammarly or other tools, but your overall tone is what's going to make a big difference for your audience.
And as a writer myself, you spend a lot more time thinking about how does this sentence sound almost, as opposed to is this sentence grammatically correct? So when you're looking for quality content that you can maybe update your website for grammatical errors, you can do that easily with a tool like Grammarly or some other plugin that you can find. But to change the tone and to get that readability, you do have to have good writers either on your staff or on your marketing team. So you and I both know content is key to websites' overall strategies, and there's so much to talk about, even just about the tone, like you mentioned, that we can't cover in just a few minutes. So we should talk more in a later episode about content, what makes good tone, and what types of content work best for what websites. So we'll talk more with you, Sam, in a later episode.
Did you enjoy today's conversation with Mike, our PPC manager? If you found value or have questions about what we discussed, don't hesitate to connect with our team to find out how we can help you in your PPC marketing efforts. The first step is to shoot us an email with your practice name and what kind of ads you'd like to run, and we'll take it from there. Contact us at info@dlmconversion.com. That's info@dlmconversion.com. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us on the Limelight podcast. We hope you learned something new today that adds value to your practice. Remember to talk to an expert about your specific situation before making decisions based on the information provided in this podcast. Digital Limelight Media LLC, its employees, partners, sponsors, and guests are not responsible for any action taken or not taken as a result of listening to this podcast. As always, we welcome your questions and encourage you to reach out about any of the services we offer at DLM. Have a great day.